Hey everybody, we have another luxury Chinese today. At least that's what they call it. This is a Zeekr. This is model 009. So actually, what you're looking at here is a minibus or a minivan. Probably more of a minivan. Well, and as far as I think so, it is a competitor of Mercedes V-Class. Accordingly, Volkswagen Multivan, well, and similar cars. Though in principle there are more competitors, probably, and will not find. But of course, there are Koreans. It is Hyundai, but it is like a class a little bit lower. In general, the Chinese have decided to compete with the whales of the market, with the Germans. It's with Mercedes and it's with Volkswagen. Let me show you what they got out of it. But a quick note. This Zeekr has four-wheel drive. The minimum package is 540 horsepower in all-wheel drive. The motor here, of course, is electric. It's not a hybrid, it's an electric motor. And the maximum is almost 800 horsepower. I think it's 780 horsepower. It's not very clear why 780 horsepower for a minibus. But that's another question. Today, I'm going to show you what the interior looks like. Well, judging by the interior, judging by the equipment, this car may even have more than 500 horsepower. But to be honest, I don't know how to tell because I can't look at the paperwork now. Because you can't open the hood and see how many cylinders there are. And then you can work out how many horsepower there is. It's just a matter of guessing. So how much do these miracle cars cost? I've looked in general, the price starts at $70,000. But in fact, in stock somewhere, the price starts at $100,000, and 800 strong copy costs $180,000. You can translate that into euros. You can translate that into rubles. I think in principle, everything is clear to everyone. In general, the minimum Chinese cost says plus or minus a good Mercedes V-Class. Well, maybe a little cheaper, but Mercedes can be on gasoline, maybe on diesel, and the Chinese only on electricity. But what is the downside of this situation? The minus of the situation with the Chinese is that it is not suitable for traveling somewhere outside the city. Only in the city. No matter what they say about power reserve, their 500 kilometers, I do not know. Maybe even the Chinese even lie about 1,000 kilometers. It may well be. But you understand, if it is still winter, if you still have electric devices, some music, multimedia switched on, then, of course, the way will be sharply reduced, which you will be able to pass. Well, and in general, you can consider it exclusively as a working tool for the city. For $100,000 plus, it seems to me, it is probably an overkill. Because after all, no matter how you look at it, the car is Chinese. But in terms of interior quality, in general in terms of options, I, of course, though not an amateur, but here it is possible to say that it is very much ahead of both Mercedes and Volkswagen. I think multiples of that. Well, look for yourself. As far as possible, I am showing you what its interior looks like. Naturally, there's no genuine leather here. There's nothing here that could be related to natural materials, but the substitutes that are used here, they are definitely of high quality. And the assembly, at least at first glance, it is very good. What, of course, will be with it after 100,000 kilometers of mileage on our roads, I do not vouch. But I think that it might even survive, because it's kind of like the Zeekr, it's expensive, but the Chinese are positioning it as a quality car. The main point, after watching this video, you'll probably make some conclusion for yourself, whether to buy a Mercedes, a Volkswagen, or a Zeekr like this. Naturally, every detail of practically the body shines at night in the evening. All these grills, every grill is illuminated. What's that for? Well, it's not clear. After all, I understand that their main sales market is Asian. Well, they just love such things. But now we're going to take a closer look at the interior. Well, about the power reserve, you understand yourself? Here, real figures and figures declared, most likely, will be very different. An interesting point is that rubber on such cars, tires, they are always somehow of world manufacturers. The Chinese apparently do not dare to put their tires on such expensive cars. And now, let's move on to the interior. You see, there is a brand designation on the sills. Because, you understand, without this designation, You may not even understand what kind of car it is. It's sort of said that the design of this car was done by a designer who left Rolls-Royce, who was poached by the Chinese. I don't know how true that is. You can look it up on Google. Google should know everything. The chair looks very comfortable. The material is very high quality, but once again, it is not a natural material. Those who are environmentalists will probably be happy. There's another row of seats in the back. I understand that, in principle, if they are completely folded back there will be little trunk but a lot of space for passengers. That's not bad, but from the rear view, in principle, you can also say that, in principle, they are probably comfortable, but they look very kind and you can say, expensive. That's a good thing. There's a huge panoramic sunroof. Basically, there's a sunroof in the front and there's a panoramic roof in the back. I'm not sure if it opens, but the front hatch definitely does. Basically, it's cool, especially if you drive it in the summer. I think it's also used as a solar panel. But basically, because there's no conventional internal combustion engine here, all the floors, as you can see, are straight, so that's a plus in terms of space too. Well, in general, I have made a conclusion for myself that if I suddenly have a Mercedes V-Class, I will try to get somewhere in China such a saloon and put it there, and then it will be perfect. A diesel Mercedes with air suspension and seats like this. I think it will be a cool story and very comfortable, very beautiful. Note, there is a clock on the side in the trim, but of course it is electronic and both trims have such clocks. Naturally, the doors close electrically, that is, you press the handle and the door closes. But in general, in any case, here we have a new car. Everything works correctly. Everything looks quite elaborated. Write in the comments those who have such cars, maybe already have some great mileage, how they behave. I think all the viewers will be very interested in this. But that's all I have for now. Subscribe to my channel, put likes. Bye everybody.